Hey everybody, welcome back. Patrick here. Sorry I haven't been around for a little while. I broke my collarbone the other day, so have not been making videos as much as I used to. That being said, what I'd like to do is actually get into a multi-part video tutorial series right now. We're going to be making like a simple game in Babylon.js. It's going to allow us to kind of work with the Babylon environment, as well as touch on some HTML5, like some DOM elements, some stuff like that, in order to make said game. The game I kind of envisioned was a Simon Says type game. I'm actually going to be switching my IDE over to WebStorm. I recommend actually people do use WebStorm if you can get a copy of it. It's $50 if you're just getting an individual license for it. That being said, it's a pretty powerful IDE. The cool thing about it is you can kind of bring in a lot of elements bring the entire library preloaded into Babylon.js into WebStorm. It's not going to give you all the arguments and all the stuff that you'll get in the IDE that's provided online, but it is still pretty cool. That being said, why don't we jump in, and what we're going to start out with is just building out. We'll do the fun stuff first, which is basically building out our interface and how we're going to interact with the scene. So let's just do Babylon stuff first, and then we'll get into some of the game logic and some of the other stuff later. All right, so that means that I've already kind of written out a lot of base stuff, which we're going to be using, and I'm going to show you what it's going to be doing. So I'm going to go ahead and actually run the file we have right here using the debugger. Stop and rerun, and it's going to open up our environment. And as you can see, it's a basic scene right here. And we have some effects. Basically, we can kind of click and push on these, and they're going to be basically interacting. All right, so how do we go about creating this? Let me show you. Alright, so here's our basic scene. We've seen all these elements before, create scene, and then we're going to put everything that we need right into here, which is going to be the guts of the whole operation. Okay, scene, Babylon engine, blah, 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 free camera, locked in at 000. Okay, and then we're adding a hemispheric light to the scene and setting its intensity at 0.7. Okay, then we're creating 4 boxes. And we're setting the position of each of these boxes so that they'll be kind of all centered and surrounding that middle position. And then we're assigning each of them a color. So we got our red, our green, our blue, and then our white. Okay, so that's pretty easy to remember. RGB, and then all 3 together is your white. After creating the standard material, adding the diffuse color to it, we're going to be adding in, we're going to be applying that material to the cubes. And when I go ahead, I'm going to increase the size of this so you guys can see. Oops, maybe not. Let's see if I can increase the view on this. Maybe not. Okay. Needless to say, I don't have it set up right now to increase the size of the code, so hopefully you can read this. Anyways, I'll provide a link to it later in the description. Alright, so the way that animations work in Babylon.js is that you need to assign keys to it, an array of keys, just like we did earlier in the Blender example. We had a whole bunch of keys that were set up. In this case, we're actually just pushing a whole set of keys using the keys.push in the array, and we're creating a number of frames basically right in here. So we have our object, it's our value, and this is going to put that into the array. So basically what's happening here is our animate box. Okay, our animation is going to be running at 30 frames per second. It's going to affect the position Y. Y is up and down. It's a float value. And then the loop mode means that it's going to go back and return to its original positioning. well, we're going to set it to return to its original positioning, but what we're going to do is have it be a finite animation. Okay, so here's the up-down animation. Basically, you have an array with all your animation keys. At frame 0, value 0. At frame 5, -2. And then at frame 10, value 0. Okay, so it should last a third of a second. Then our second animation. Okay, instead we're doing a new color 3. And this is the value that we're going to push into there. Because on this case, we're actually, the type is animation type color 3. So we're going to stick our value in here. Babylon color 3, 0, 0. And then we're going to do this 0.7, 0.7. I just imagined it was kind of an incandescent bulb flashing off. So that gives us a nice yellow color right there. And then we'll go back to our default color on the last. Same length of time. Okay. And then let's just put those arrays inside the set keys. And then all you have to do is call the animation when you click on the result. Okay, so scene on pointer down. And here's the function that we're going to roll. We're going to call, which essentially is going to be it's going to pass in the event and the pick result. And the pick result, we're going to read if it's a hit. Okay, I'm just sticking it out into the console. We don't really need that information, but it was for some debugging purposes. Pick result dot picked mesh, okay. Dot animations push animate box, then pick result dot picked mesh. Now there's 4 options you can choose with the pick result, okay. But I'm using just the pick mesh. Then scene dot begin animation, pick dot picked mesh, so that's the object, and then we're just calling the animation right there. Alright, and then everything else is kind of some basic stuff. Alright, so this is pretty darn straightforward. It's pretty cool. You'll notice that I fixed the viewport this time around. Removed a little bit of code because we don't want to be swiveling around here. But I think it looks pretty realistic, and we'll get it to look even more realistic as we kind of build out the whole scene, and get some other elements going, and make this thing more of a video game. Anyways, that's the first portion of this, and tune in, and we will go over more stuff in the future. Thanks again for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.